I said, we have Just a Trace of Moon and In the Kingdom of Birds back there, as well as several of our issues of Borderlands. So you should beat the crowd, after everything's over. Good thing. Next up is going to be Lisa Moore, and I've been trying to train myself because I'm used to calling her Dr. Moore in my capacity as a student at UT. In that capacity, I've gotten to know Dr. Moore as being not only an amazing educator, but just like an incredibly generous and kind person. And so in my cap as the editor, where I get to call her Lisa Moore, or I'm trying to allow myself, she's encouraged me to call her Lisa Moore even as a professor, but for some reason I can't make that leap yet. And that I've gotten to know her as a really spectacular poet. And when our poems kind of came across us, and we try not to pay too much attention to bios or names, but we saw the poems in themselves, and we're just like, oh, these are really great. And they're like, oh, and it's Dr. Moore. So I was kind of like, after accepting them and then kind of seeing that, we're like, okay, this is great, because not only do we love her as a poet, but we love her as a person and as a role model. And so, with that being said, her poems have recently appeared in Literary Mama, Tinderbox Poetry Journal, and Ostrich Review. Her writing has been recognized with the Art Lines Jury Poetry Prize, the Split This Rock Poem of the Week, and the Choice Outstanding Book Award, and the Lambda Literary Foundation Book Award. The author or editor of 5 critical studies of women's literature, Lisa teaches at the University of Texas at Austin. So please welcome Lisa.
It really is great to be here. Thank you for that really warm introduction. I'm glad that Ryan said that about the purpose of poetry being to make us uncomfortable. I find that very authorizing, because I think that oftentimes that is exactly what my poems do for me, and certainly for you. So this first poem is one that's going to appear in the journal The Femme. I don't know if you guys have checked that out. It's a really great queer feminist online journal, and I have a couple poems coming out of it soon, including this one called Choke Cherry. I grew up in the natural historic range of the choke cherry, so naturally I'm bitter. With choke cherries, peril is right there, puckery and astringent in the mouth. Wild, suckering shrub pesticating the south-facing slope at the foot of the 70 acres. The lotus roots in decay, but on the surface all you see is blossoming. Pink nymphea, petal lips cupping the jewel that knows it's a jewel. Perennial, the lotus can live for over 1,000 years with its feet stuck in the same pond bottom, nourished by old wounds and rich, rotting dreams. Petals wrinkling across the surface like this flesh contracting across my skull. That's a Kundalini poem for Tristan. So I grew up in Alberta on a ranch in the eastern foothills of the Rocky Mountains, and I have a lot of poems about that, and these are just a few of them. This one's called Elegy 1969. My horse is nothing more nor less than stored up work with whom I wage a war of wills. Will it be me, my yelled at yank on the reins, or her, 2,000 pounds of bay mare, found wanting? My dog's pink penis protrudes from his plush belly when scratched to catch the ribcage's much nibbled edge. Go ahead, pet him, but he can't fetch. And when we chase cattle, we whoop, go home, like it's a threat. Our animals are stock, not pets. Not another kindergartner learned this, to prefer the word anthropomorphism to tainted delight in non-human beings. I practiced polite eye rolls at the sight of dressed up dogs, kissed cats, heavy ribboned horses. I had my own calf for half a year, until that last shaft of fall light fell across the slaughterhouse floor. Her name was 3L. This one's called Poisoning Gophers, 1977. I always tell my kids, every kid has to do some things their parents make them do. You have to go to the Undoing Racism workshop. I had to poison gophers. No answer to that. I hated pouring sweet-smelling strychnine like molasses over my bucket of oats. Hated climbing the side of the coulee in my gumboots, black rubber with soles pink as kitten paws. The 70-acre pasture rolled to the west, smelling homely of cattle-trod grass and running spring manure. In a landscape always threatening thunder, I set down the 5-gallon bucket as often as I dared, rubbed blisters beneath my yellow deerskin gloves, switched hands. I scooped up a sticky sweet morsel with the long-handled spoon each time I stumbled across a hole where the bare black earth broke the meadow, and dropped the mouthful in. The walk was lovely in itself. I still love to walk through a quiet place. This meadow here, for instance, a flower with monarch butterflies on their way south. The sweetness stayed with me, but also the heavy poison bucket. I want now to lay down the strychnine-coated spoon. And this one for more farm violence. Branding time, 1979. I'm spreading the split ear of the soon-to-be steer, smearing green ink into the smashed-in wounds left by needles in the shape of my father's brand, quarter circle 34. My fingers force grease and dirt off the waxy surface of the inner ear so the tattoo tines dig a deeper mark. On a bed of straw, already bleeding calves bawl. Their mothers brawl behind the high corral fence with my father, my brother, the other cowboys. My uncle spelunks down the bars of the chute, slips in grass green shit and hits his head on iron. His eyes go dull and blank. He picks up a plank and beats the shit out of the nearest animal, a calf, a cow, somehow his older son. Or was that another moment? Blood-soaked kitchen, red. How about for a change of tone? A poem. This is one of the ones that's appearing in Borderlands. The next two poems are the two that Ryan and the editorial team chose, and I want to thank them very much for that honor. This is about queer parenting. Dissolved. I harbored a stranger, holding him closer than anyone. You could say I made him myself, and it's true he was created with intention, an infinite leaf caressed by my lover's fingers, delicate and deep inside my body, a dense embryo bathed in handsome semen. But whatever I willed, this wisp, not yet even flesh, broke me down from the beginning, tearing tissue from the walls of my womb until he had hands and a heart. He decreed with imperial sweetness that I would no longer eat this, smell that without nausea, sit, stand, or sleep, remember a phone number, or recognize myself. I'm not myself. And now, my heart lives outside my body, walks out the door, grows a beard, plays cello, has a boyfriend I've never even met. Though common as grass, this mystery of the self dissolved is undreamt of in their philosophy. Here's my tenderness for that knowing. Here's my love for that loss. Lake of the Ozarks, which is one of the poems in Borderlands, I have not been able to resist revising a little bit. So it's slightly different than the printed version. The poem is never finished, right? We leave our names behind on the wooded shore and enter the iridescent water, naked, though one of us still wears glasses and another a bandage. I have been tired of this body, shame-shod, aspire without a prayer, my map of ecstatic connections ringed by blame. Now I know this water, the spines and hearts around me, submerged and shimmering. So, like many a queer person, I have been married many, many times in an attempt to gain various benefits or legal recognition or just to have a party, and it never quite seems to take. I mean, the relationship sticks, but thank goodness, but yeah, the status of the marriage. So I have a series of poems called Epithalamia, and Epithalamian is a poem in praise of marriage, and so here are a couple of the the epithalamia I've written for my various weddings over the years. Texas epithalamian. Come here, let's have a quickie. Legal recognition makes me come. Twirl me, dip me, split my face into a never on Facebook grin. Our teenage boy pounds hard on a drum box. His hand and foot are silver and bronze. I have hot flashes. My crotch stinks so rank, it cured a cripple who had walked on his hands for 16 years. Dr. Bronner's peppermint soap stings. What do gays have in common without oppression? A pot of ointment, ring of keys, counseling session, kitchen, brewery, garden, prayer. I snap the hem of my dress across the tops of my thighs, dancing. 7 devils pour out. Lover, give my rank dress to the executioner, and let's eat parking garage barbecue. And this one is also going to appear in the Femme, in the next issue of the Femme. It's called Everyday Epithalamian. And I should say that in my professor life, I'm a scholar of 18th century literature, and one of my favorite 18th century poems by Anne Finch is called Spleen, and that's the 18th century word for depression. They believed that it was linked to the organ. I put my spleen in the redbud tree where the red-winged blackbirds nest. Our marriage is a badge, is in pieces, is a business, is illegal in some places. Our marriage is a pose, is a breath, is a heron's wing, is a cat's tongue, is a waterfall in a wastewater pond. Our marriage knows my story, knows my shape, knows French and Pig Latin, knows what I know and what I don't. I put my spleen in the redbud tree where the red-winged blackbirds nest. It's a blood-soaked organ, soft and wet, like an unexpected deep soul kiss. And this poem is for my friends Joanna and Anna. It's called Lesbian. We're not supposed to use that word, people say, anymore. But in fact, 30 years ago, Kathy said it was classist and she preferred gay woman. And then 20 years ago, there was queer femme, which was always okay. And dyke had its day. And yesterday, Madge's sister said she didn't like lesbian because it sounds so clinical. The Isle of Lesbos is in the news now, but not for its association with the love of girls. I mean, the Pope visited and took 3 families with him back to the Vatican. I used to go to lesbian camp to hear women's music. After a week, we'd drive back out through small-town Michigan and feel fear's lead apron settle back into our laps. But now, these lesbian camps hold 600,000 migrants from the Middle East. Lesbos, home of Sappho, the lyric poet, and Tabush, the cat whose Syrian family could not leave him behind when they fled to Europe. Chios, 13,000. Samos, 4,500. Leros, Kos, Simi, and Rhodes. Names out of Homer and Hesiod. Names out of Syria, Iraq, Afghanistan, Yusuf Mohammed, Ammar Sakir, Amal and her 6-year-old daughter. Speakers of Persian and Arabic, poets and engineers and pharmacists. And now they are lesbians. Yes, they are. This next one is a villanelle that appeared this spring in Literary Mama. It's called 112 Miles from Carnes Immigrant Detention Center. I think you know, but please don't mention it. The smell of wolf willow, choke cherry, sweet broom, of caged children in foil blankets on cement. Exhausted women offer empty breasts to babies, sleep restless as they dream of blood-soaked rooms. As I think you know, but please don't mention it. My baby, practice handle. I'll show you where your bow slid. Tonight, I'll hold you shivering in your night dark room, knowing caged children sleep in foil blankets on cement. One young mother begged all the way to the bridge. She was thrown into the river's gloom. I think you know, but please don't mention it. At home, you drew your bow across the bridge. In camp, they all got sick. Poor food, the cold, caged children in foil blankets on cement. She told the officers within a week she would be killed. What were we doing at that hour, me and you, as caged children slept in foil blankets cement. I think you know, but please don't mention it. This poem is called 24 Hours of Men, and it commemorates a part of it. Again, Desiree. And a yoga class I attended with Kristen. 24 Hours of Men. I was surprised to see their cunts smiling at me from across the room as we all squatted to the best of our abilities. Male genitals are just women's, pulled outside the body where there's a little more room to expand. And from a certain angle, you can see the split between their external ovaries, and it looks just like the seam between my own legs. I was trying to direct compassion toward the hairy-bellied, double-horned reveler at last night's party. Someone told me he had nothing on under his tutu and had flashed a few of the young actresses. Well, after the release of the Trump pussy tapes on Friday, I, along with every other woman in America, all of us have had enough. My friend George, who's a woman and a black belt, told us no is a complete sentence, and so is stop, I don't like that. And someone Trump wrote 30 years ago was asked why now, and she said, I finally realized it wasn't my fault. And it turns out to be really hard to refuse someone your attention without practice. And practicing gave Pascal a panic attack, so when the tutu-wearing devil tried to interrupt my conversations 2 different times with 2 different women and talked to us in his sexy devil voice, I looked each friend right in the eye and said, he is a sexual harasser. I do not want to talk to him. Each time my friend thought I was joking. I was not joking. This morning, I started to worry that I had been too hard on him when he followed me into the lounge and said, I'd like to be given a chance to explain. And I said, I don't owe you my attention. This morning, I brought my heel down on Patrick's forehead as we lay on the floor, and he laughed, and later we clasped hands. This morning, while squatting, my heart melted for men's vulnerability, which opened out between my friend's legs like flower after flower after flower. This is the last one, and this is for all the witches in the audience. There may be a witch hunt going on this week, but if so, it's being conducted by witches. It's called Cackle. Bring back the cackle, the sharp, broken cry of a hen after laying, harsh laughter that gets to the root of the matter. The witch is a rackhole woman, strong-headed, strong-boned, her laughter as bone broth for raised hackles. The cackle is catching, may giggles ripple, clap back for the curves of the body, the folds of the belly moving with gravity, the outward and downward curve of the thighs left over from that last baby. Adore the enormous belly of the mannish mother. Bring back the cackle, nursemaid of pain-free sleep. Cackle as action, cackle as proper name. Mutter kisses into mud. Between your hips is a twinned crystal. Reach for that knuckle and rise, riding your broomstick of light. You won't fall if you don't look down.